Hi everybody, this is Carrick with Angry Centaur Gaming, and today I'm proud to bring you the review for Lost Planet 3 by Spark Unlimited for the Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. Lost Planet 3 tells the tale of a Yugoslavian war that began when NASA reclassified Pluto as a moon. Fuckers. Actually, Lost Planet 3 is the prequel story to the original Lost Planet games that started on the 360, then jumped around to the other systems looking for love and sales, using the battered spouse guidebook for success. So herein is told the tale of the rise of NEVEC, which sounds like a disorder involving rubber chickens, a cat, and acid reflux, but instead is a retelling of the creation of the evil baddies that show up in the original game. So you're playing a game in now that's in the past of the prior games that told the stories about the future. Now, just a reminder that this game is brought to you by the cherished Spark Unlimited, who also brought you Legendary. And I'm not saying that's bad, I'm just saying it's the exact opposite of good. Actually, all kidding aside, Legendary is probably the best $7 I spent on a coaster, so we'll see how this goes. Graphics first. Well, shit. I admit I actually liked them. Occasionally a character has flubber face, which is a mix of rubbery skin and demon eyes, but overall the game is pretty good. The cutscenes are pretty fucking fabulous. And the in-game graphics aren't bad either, with some pretty good lip syncing in almost all the places. I also like the overall design, as your character has a decidedly hookish look to him, and it isn't the typical emo, angry at your parents, eyeliner, hair in the face look. Instead, he's more the everyman with a sharp nose, rough beard, and excellent mannerisms. This is the guy at your local Connect Auto Parts store, just working hard, trying to make a living, and probably in at least a couple dozen Bon Jovi videos. Damn it, the animation too, which is spot on throughout, not something I expected. But the fucking NPCs hilariously are hit and miss, with a couple real winners in there that make you wonder if this icy location is a place the futuristic government sends its less fortunate. However, just when you think that this is a nice palace filled with inbred guitar players, you get back on track and are left with nothing but a cold shiver to remind you that some of those guys are just out there waiting, like a retarded Chuck Norris. The world and the monsters are good, not great. The world is pretty much ice, and they didn't fuck it up with some excellent vistas here and there, but nothing really to write home about. Unless you're in prison, then writing home about anything is best. The enemies are, as always, a mix of terror-inducing body orifice freaks and spiders, or centipedes. Think of shit you don't want to find under your bed, mix in flesh red skin flaps, sticky fluids flying around, and you have the majority of your bad guys. Sound, music, and voice. I imagine the sound designer for the game holed up in his room, sucking the edge of his blanket in terror every night, and only comes out to make games when coaxed with some Ritz crackers and the promise of a bedtime story. The sound is insane. The creatures themselves are multi-layered, and when one comes into the scene and scares the crap out of you, it also carries various tonal layers, and it's that rise and lowering of pitch and definition where your spine starts to tingle. While the guns are all around somewhat disappointing, and though they mostly sound as they should, they don't really have any real atmosphere to them, and you are rarely connected to them sonically. Music, or should I call it Jusic for Jack Wall music, or maybe Wallach, or Mewjack. It's Jack fucking Wall, and it's amazing. Atmospheric, and you know you're in for a good time from the moment the game begins. Shit just gets better from there with some spine-tingling scoring throughout. Jack Wall is sort of like the Michael Jordan of game music right now, just showing up, smiling, then slamming boards with music from the gods like he was kidnapped and his DNA was replaced with pure success. Then he waves goodbye, has sex with your girlfriend, for which you find yourself thanking him, and leaves. It is epic. Additionally, as a story device, you have music in your mech via what could only be described as the iPod 554, and the tracks are amazing with Firefly-invoking melodies that give the game a real sedate feel at times, and makes a difference between the calm of fixing an energy pump and fighting off a horde of flying toothy vaginas all the more impactful. The voice acting in the game is also exceptional. The main lead is fucking amazing, and his acting and emoting truly make the character far more interesting than he should have a right to be if, say, he was replaced with the leads from the video game Dark, which is saying that it would still be better than Dark even if they replaced him with a series of farting sounds. But he is really good. In fact, they all are. This is all brought together by exceptional animation. The storyline itself, and brought home by the voice work, it's just one excellent package. Though you still do have the typical Capcom NPC work, which means you can expect a handful of NPCs that sound like Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey, or have accents that don't sound like accents, they sound like somebody's missing face parts. Capcom treats voice acting success sort of like whack-a-mole when it comes to that, and even when they hit something out of the park, they're also right there with the opposing team trying to catch the ball or tag themselves out. Sometimes they are their own worst enemy. Gameplay and control, so here we go. The gameplay is sort of a mix of adventure, mech battle, and third-person shooter. You start as Jim Peyton, a working man who's left his wife and kid to make some cash in a cash-strapped universe. That's how it starts, at least. Within just a little bit of time, you're running around fixing people's problems, killing bad guys, sucking energy from the earth like Kim Kardashian, and overall just being labeled as the go-to guy. The cool thing is the game doesn't seat you as Billy Badass, but instead as Jim just because. You do things to get them done, at least at first, and the gameplay has this grounded feel that fairly quickly solidifies a story, and it makes the upcoming twists and turns more interesting. Some may find the slower pace, especially at the beginning, a bit unique compared to the previous games, and that is completely right. I was fine with it, however. The third-person bits are stock and trade with hiding for cover, blind fire, nothing terrible, but nothing really that amazing. However, due to the varied enemies and insane locations you fight, many times you'll find yourself a bit cautious as to what is coming around the bend. You can carry 3 weapons, with the default pistol always having ammo while the others can run out. Overall, it was some good shooting, but fairly standard. Now, the RPG bits, they have you running around this massive complex doing odd jobs for people. Sometimes it's just killing some baddies, other times it's exploring, and other times it's a bit more personal. All told, it's enjoyable, and Capcom did a good job of mixing in the side quests with voiceovers. So even though you're just killing some bad guys, the quest feels like it fits. Though there are some generic minigame style bits interspersed within the game, it never really gets in the way or seems overly suffocating. The HUD is a direct copy of Dead Space, and so you're going to have the positive and negatives from that kind of HUD as you're playing the adventure parts. The mech gameplay is a mix of utilitarian work and fighting. These rigs, as they're called, don't have weapons, but what they lack in guns, you make up for in drills, height, and bulk. There's a sexual joke in there somewhere, but let's move on. The personal hook and winch come back into play, and I have to say, overall, the control feels improved from the other games. I'm not sure why, it just feels more slick, and I didn't fight the controls, though I did have to adjust the sensitivity of the thumbsticks a couple times. Additionally, you can upgrade both your own weapons and the overall abilities of the rig itself, and both have some excellent return on investment. Boss battles are scattered around the game, and none offer any real tactical surprise, though as always, the boss's designs are a bit of Jesus Christ, is this okay to put in a PG-rated game, to holy Christ, I remember waking up next to this chick a couple years ago. So I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, rent, or package the game up and ship it to your enemy rating scale. Let's just go to the dictionary for a second. Surprise is listed as to cause to feel wonder, astonishment, or amazement as to something unanticipated. I was not expecting this game to be as good as it was. Listen, these devs had a ton against them. No advertising, a sequel that is like a weird uncle that no one wants to admit is in the family, and a harsh release environment, and a history that reads like Greece's experience with venereal disease. I don't really care. I actually enjoyed the game. I have no problem suggesting that this game is a wait for a sale. It's well worth it. I never felt like I was questioning if I should have been searching Craigslist escorts listings versus playing the game. It's not perfect, but it was enjoyable as hell, had no bugs, was long in content, interesting in execution, and just surprising as hell. The feeling of being this guy who is just trying to take care of his family, the music, the exploration, the overall environment, and the storytelling really captured. I mean, we live in a world where being jaded is cool, but being surprised is cooler, and I was surprised. It was enjoyable pretty much from start to finish. A game that isn't perfect, but never stalls when imperfections arise. Lost Planet 3 is better than at least one of its predecessors, and just like our parents want us to be better people than they were, this game is better than those that came before it. So this is Carrick from Angry Centaur Gaming, saying thanks for watching. Hit like if you liked the video, hit dislike if you think Airwolf sucks, and hit subscribe if you have a high threshold for emotional pain. Peace out, bitches. No, seriously, guys, I'm cool up here. His fucking face isn't frozen or anything. Everybody else has a seat but me. I'm the new guy. Ooh, what is that? Man, I have to say, I dig in the animation.